Hi guys, welcome to McKola TV. This is another MUFC transfer talk. We are talking a potential 3 signings for Manchester United before the World Cup begins in a couple of weeks, plus much more. And I'll also be answering your questions as well in this MUFC transfer talk. Remember, we're sponsored by OneFootball, the absolutely fantastic free football app which you can get on your Apple and your Android. It's got football news, stats, transfer rumours, all sorts on there, as well as when the season's going and the World Cup's going, live score updates, live team updates, all that stuff. So make sure you're downloading the app. The link is in the description below. But for now, let's get stuck into some transfer talk and those potential 3 signings that are coming in at Old Trafford. They could be Fred. We've already discussed that one an awful lot on this channel. Also, Toby Alderweireld as well. He could be coming in. And Diogo Dalot, or Diogo Dalot, whatever you want to call him, he could potentially be coming to Manchester United as well. Those are the 3 transfers we're talking about today here on youtube.com/AdamMcKola. And we'll wrap up the video with a little bit of your questions as well and any rumours you want me to check out. But first things first, let's get stuck into those rumours. The first one that I've got in to bring up. Now, they all come from the same article, really. The same article which was on the BBC. And the BBC broke the news that Manchester United were closing in on the signing of Porto's teenage defender, Diogo Dalot. To be fair, Telegraph broke it and then the rest caught up. Dalot is 19 years old. He's a fullback, plays right back but can play left back too. He's got a €20 million release clause, which is around £17.5 million. He's Portugal under-21 international right back. He's won the under-17 European Championships. He was named in the 11 of the tournament as well. He was named in the 11 of the tournament of the European under-19 Championships, as well as making 8 appearances for Porto at the tail end of their Premier Liga winning season. Now, he wasn't linked to Manchester United much, apart from the fact when it popped up and we were supposedly on the verge of signing him. Now, in that article on the BBC, they also go on to say Manchester United are still keen to sign Brazil midfielder Fred and also Tottenham's Belgium defender Toby Alderweireld. So we'll be talking about those 2 stories too, because the BBC is very reliable. And what we'll try and do is have a look out for some other stories relating those players, and of course see what else is going on elsewhere in the news in relation to those players. Who else is suggesting what? Because there's a lot of talk about all 3 of those players at the moment. Diogo Dalot seems like one of those that could be very close. We're helped by the fact that he has a release clause as well. We're also helped by the fact that he's delaying on signing a new contract with Porto, which would extend his contract, of course, but increase his release clause too. He's been scouted by the likes of Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, as well as Manchester United. Now, I haven't seen much football of him at all, but from what you hear, and that's £17.5 million for somebody of his age and for somebody of his experience for his age as well, what he's done at international level, played in the Champions League too, you'd think it's a pretty shrewd move. Because if it fails, and let's say he doesn't turn out to be a decent player for us in the Premier League, we can sell him on, probably recoup a lot of that money. He's not going to be demanding the highest of wages, and he provides competition to Valencia, who, whilst I have been saying, look, Valencia needs to be replaced in the team, I do think Valencia's still got more games in there as belt to offer Manchester United next season than, say, someone like Ashley Young. I wouldn't mind seeing Valencia in the team as much, as long as he's not joined by Smalling, Jones and Young at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Because Valencia has been one of the most reliable out of all those guys. I just think with his age, he's getting older, his delivery hasn't been great at all. I think we need to improve in that area. So I'm glad to see that we are doing that. And there's nothing wrong with us targeting a young player as well. Of course, we want to see someone like Timothy Fosu-Mensah given an opportunity too. And I understand when people talk about that and say, look, I want Fosu-Mensah to be given game time. We look at Fosu-Mensah and we think, where could he get game time in this team? He could get game time at, let's say, centre half, but that's unlikely. We need to be having a settled centre half partnership. He's unlikely to be first choice there. You're looking at right back. You were thinking he could have been the man to challenge Antonio Valencia at right back. And that was what I was hoping for from him. But also, we're losing numbers in midfield as well. And we know Fosu Mensah can play there. It's still a squad game. Diogo Dalot, if he does sign for Manchester United, it'll take a while for him to adapt to English football. It may mean an extended period in the 23s, although the talk about him is that he's ready right now, especially when you see some of his performances in the Champions League, help Porto keep a clean sheet against Liverpool, for example. He's not a bad player right here, right now. So I understand the concerns about what's going to happen with Fosu Mensah, but at the same time, there's no harm in us bringing in a young player. 20 million euros isn't a vast amount in this day and age, and I think we could potentially bring some of that back in if it did fail. We got Susan, who says she still thinks Valencia's got a part to play, just not every game, and she's agreeing with me as well. A lot of people talking about Zidane, who has obviously left Real Madrid. The one thing that I want to see happen with that one is Arsene Wenger take the Real Madrid job and win La Liga. I would say Champions League, but I know it's unlikely we're going to win it next season, but I'd hope United would win it. But if he was to win a big trophy at Real Madrid, imagine the piss that would boil in North London, especially if, say, they finish outside the top 4 with Unai Emery or, whatever. That'd be great to see, wouldn't it? But anyway, let's get back to Manchester United stuff. In the Diogo Dalot story, we also hear about Fred. Now, it's rumoured Fred is very, very close to a move to Manchester United. The benefit of this one is, although he is going to the World Cup with Brazil, he is in England at the moment. They're training at Tottenham, I think, and they're playing a match at Anfield as well. So Brazil are in England. There's potential there to meet up, have a medical and so on and so forth. Now, Damasio and Fabrizio Romano and all those guys were coming out saying the move's very close. 50 million euro had been agreed. And his release clause was 60 million euros. So we've managed to get a knockdown on that one. And so Fred is seemingly very close as well. You would like to think if that one was going to happen, when are Brazil playing? Let me see when Brazil's fixtures are. Because then you'd be able to work out when he leaves. So you got the 3rd and the 10th. So you're thinking we could possibly, the 3rd is in about 3-4 days time. Imagine being able to wrap that up next week. If the fee has been agreed, then you'd suggest that the player just needs to meet up with the club. After that game would be an ideal time. You'd expect the player would get a rest after that match. This is all speculation by me, by the way. But the speculation comes because this is being reported by very reliable sources, Damasio being one of those. So Fred is looking likely. It's not done yet. You'll hear what I rate it tomorrow in MUFC Rumour Rater. We'll be having another episode of that. So make sure you keep it locked for that too. But Fred is another one that is seemingly, if Jose Mourinho is in for him and wants to make it happen, could be done before the World Cup. So you imagine, Diogo Dalot, he's not going to the World Cup. So, he could be done before then. You got Fred. Imagine getting that one wrapped up next week. That'd be great. Start to transfer window. And then you've got Toby Alderweireld. Now, he is going to the World Cup with Belgium. And Toby Alderweireld is one that I really want to see sign for Manchester United. Now, if you watch Full-Time Devils 3 in 3 out, I know it's a lot of fun and stuff like that. And I said I wanted Modric too and all that kind of jazz. But Toby Alderweireld is one that I seriously think we should get and can get. Now, he's not played a lot of football for Spurs last season, which means he could possibly, be on the move. The only thing for me is Spurs have given Pochettino a new contract. Imagine part of that is an agreement to pay more wages to players, and Alderweireld is one of them. Now, you get to hear stuff like, they want Anthony Martial in. Manchester United aren't in the business of selling Martial to Tottenham, which is great to hear. So it's going to take a big, big bid. Could that be 40, 50, 60 million pounds? Rumours they want around 75 million pounds. But there's also talk that Alderweireld wants any move wrapped up before the World Cup. And there was other reports yesterday that Mauricio Pochettino had sanctioned the move and said he would allow the move to happen. So if that is the case, then this is another one that could get wrapped up before the World Cup begins. You'd imagine the World Cup begins on the 14th of June. So in 2 weeks' time, the World Cup kicks off. Exactly 2 weeks' time, the World Cup kicks off. So you'd think teams are travelling out about the 10th, 11th. If we're going to get these guys wrapped up, we've got about 10 days. Now you'd think these things can move quick. We're already in negotiations. Maybe the reason we're in for these kind of players right now, and not some of the other players that you hear about, the likes of Gareth Bale and all these kind of guys, is because these are signings that can get done and get done quickly. You get 3-4 in early doors, then you can focus on if you want to bring in a marquee signing. Me personally, I don't think Gareth Bale's going to happen. I don't think Gareth Bale's going to end up at Manchester United. I know that will disappoint a lot of you, but look at this way. After his goals in the Champions League final, we're gonna need to pay over £100 million for him. Yeah. So if you're talking 130, 40, 50, 60 million, whatever, big wages as well. Jose's obviously looking to strengthen fullback, centre half, central midfield. 3 major areas that we need to improve in, more so than maybe that side of the pitch. Now I know we need a right winger, some would say. But that's the case, then you're going to get rid of Mata or someone like that. That could happen. Mata's contract's ticking down. But you hear reports that Jose doesn't want his transfer funds splashed all on Gareth Bale. And that could either be a ploy by Jose Mourinho to get more money out of the club and say, look, I want these players. If you want Gareth Bale, because I'm sure Ed Woodward wants Gareth Bale. It'd be his wet dream to get Gareth Bale. So I'm sure he's saying, look, I'm going to spend my money, whatever his budget is, on my players. If you want him, you do that. And I think he could use that as a ploy and pretend not to want Gareth Bale, knowing that the club will try and probably force it upon him because of how financially lucrative that move could be. So it's an interesting one, but I don't think Gareth Bale is going to end up at Manchester United. I think we've got to improve in other areas. If Alderweireld is going to cost 50 million plus, you're looking at 40 million plus for Fred. Diogo Dalot 17.5. That's already over 100 million pounds. If you're saying we need 1 or 2 more signings, another midfielder, this, that, and the other, I know we're trimming down our wage bill when we're losing Fellaini and Carrick and so on, but it's a lot of money to send out, and I'm not too sure that may happen. You never know though. United do these things. I wasn't positive we'd sign Paul Pogba. I wasn't certain we'd get Alexis Sanchez. Didn't dream of some of these signings, so maybe it could happen. But what would happen with our squad if Gareth Bale does come? Because you would have to let go of one of those attacking players. I don't want it to be someone like Martial. It could be someone like Juan Mata. I think his spot would be more under threat. But I think if Gareth Bale is going to move, I think it would take a lot for that to happen. And I don't think it will. Real Madrid have got a new manager now as well. We don't know who that is yet. But they're likely to think, yo, Gareth Bale needs to stay. This isn't Zidane and Bale no more. This is Bale and Real Madrid and a new manager. So, yeah, I don't think Gareth Bale is going to be on the move. We've got close to 400 people watching at this moment in time. Make sure you're hitting that like button. We got 57 likes at the minute. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're also downloading that One Football app. The link is in the description below. You guys that have already downloaded it are saying you love it. So, guys, it's well thought after in the comments. So make sure you're downloading that app if you haven't already. It's absolutely free. Shoot Neutrality says, I criticise Martial a bit, and I'm super certain that Martial will be here next season. There is reports that Manchester United are trying to extend Martial's contract, which would make absolute sense. Chelsea have been linked with him. United ain't selling him. If Manchester United are gonna let Martial go, which would be A, a stupid decision, and B, I think it's unlikely, then we're not gonna let him go to Chelsea or Spurs. So he's gonna go abroad. I don't think Martial is gonna leave. I think he's gonna give it another season at least. I think United will give it another season with him. I think he's got more than enough to offer. I think he's already done a lot for the club, but we need to see consistency from him. We need Jose Mourinho to be a little bit better with him as well. But I think it's both of them that need to work together to make this work. It's not just Jose's being bad against him, and it's not just Martial. Martial hasn't got a bad attitude and all that stuff that some people pipe on about. If you think Martial had a bad attitude, would it be anywhere near the squad? We've already seen what Jose Mourinho's like. So we obviously like something from him because he's so close to the first team all the time. You hear he's going to be used in a more central position. During the summer, Alexis Sanchez, Anthony Martial got great opportunities because there's players out at the World Cup. They're going to get a full pre-season. They're going to get a full pre-season tour. So it's all, big opportunities for them. to get a chance in the team. So I can't see him leaving. I'd be gutted if he did. It's not impossible. I think if we sign a couple of attacking players, he could maybe think, yo, what's going on here? You know, is it worth it and all that? How many games am I going to get? So on and so forth. But I don't think it's going to come to that. Matt says we can't keep dropping Martial all the time. I agree. Wasim, how are you doing, mate? If we get Fred and don't get SMS, then who is the other central midfielder we're going to get, says Gerbia. It's a good question, mate. Who do you guys think that other central midfielder is going to be? Will we re-sign Marouane Fellaini? Will Marouane Fellaini leave on a free and then United re-sign him or something like that? Oh my God, can you imagine that? That'd be awful. See, Fahad says 200 million as a transfer budget is not enough for a club like Manchester United. I think that's totally unrealistic, mate. I think when you look at it, let's say top end Alderweireld 60 million, Fred 40 million, Diogo Dalot 17.5. That there's about 120 million. That's 80 million left to bring in 3 players. So our budget isn't going to be much over 200 million if it is that. Unless we end up bringing in someone like Gareth Bale. Ashley Barnes, how you doing? Youssef says he would like Vidal in the middle. Fosu Mensah to deputise for Matic, says Dr. Jabir Kazi. Hope you're doing well, mate. How many signings do we need this summer? I think we need more than 4 this time, says Caleb. I think I agree with you there. We're talking about a potential 3 here, and that would mean we still need another midfielder, if that, and possibly a left back. So you're looking, we need at least 5 this summer, and it depends on players who leave as well, because I'm sure there will be a few departures around the club as well. I don't want Daley Blind to go, but I think he's going to be off. Matteo Darmian looks like he's going to be going to Juventus. Marouane Fellaini, contract's expiring. Carrick has retired. That's 4 exits already. Smalling has been linked with an exit. I think he could potentially move. I don't think Jones would leave. I don't think Bailly is going to leave. Lindelof. I don't think Rojo is going to leave. I don't think Valencia Young's going to leave. Romero could possibly leave. That's 5, 6 players that could possibly leave. Midfield, don't think anybody else is going to go. There's rumours over Herrera and Mata. You never know what happens there. They could possibly leave. Although I would like to see Herrera stay. Going further forward, Lukaku's not going to go anywhere. Rashford isn't going anywhere. Question marks over Martial, but I don't think he will go anywhere. So potential for 5, 6 outs, you think, if you're being reasonable. So yeah, I don't think, I think we need about 5 players minimum, and maybe if those players do leave, maybe 1 more. Romero to Boca Jr. says shoot neutrality. I think that would be a good move for him. Fabrizio says love you, Adam. Martial FC all day. Shout out. Hope you're doing well, mate. Who would you sign as a second choice striker, says Sergio? I wouldn't sign anyone as a second choice striker. Jose Mourinho plays Romelu Lukaku most of the time. If he's fit for all league games, he'll start top 38 league games. So then you're looking, Rashford needs to play, Martial needs to play, Sanchez needs minutes. He's going to be playing a lot of games. I know Sanchez is going to start. But if you got to give these players minutes and you bring in someone else in, like, there's been links with Arnautovic for £50 million, and there's been reliable people saying that, DiMarzio, Sky Sports, BBC, etc. If we're in for Arnautovic, which I think could potentially be a smokescreen for some other signing, it kind of makes sense because he's not going to demand, like, if we sign Arnautovic, I think, you know, and we sold Martial or something, that'd be stupid. And I think if we signed Arnautovic, it wouldn't strike fear into Rashford's, Martial, anybody. They'd think, yeah, we're getting minutes still. So then he just becomes another member of the squad. If we sign Bale or someone like that, you don't know what's going to happen. Mandzukic has been linked. So it depends on what kind of player comes in. Sanchez ain't going nowhere. AS7 Alexis is saying it as well. I don't think Sanchez is going anywhere. He's been here 6 months. We're going to see a lot more from Alexis Sanchez next season. I think he was poor majority of the time. I know he had that big game against Spurs and City, but apart from that, he wasn't great for United. But I think with a full rested summer behind him, and a pre-season and all that, I think we're going to see the best of of Alexis Sanchez next season in a Manchester United shirt. We're 13 subscribers away from 51,400, which means we're 613 away from 52,000. Get hitting that subscribe button right now if you're not already subscribing. If you are already subscribed, download the OneFootball app. You know what to do. Caleb says Arnautovic is defo a smoke screen. He'll go to Chelsea. Should Tuanzebe go on loan again in a Premier League side? Says Amit, possibly, but depends who we sign. We don't need a goalkeeper. Joel Pereira is talent, says Farhan. Again, one of the serious parts of my 3 in 3 out was the fact that I mentioned Sergio Romero being out. And that's not because I dislike Romero. I like Romero. But I just think him going to, say, Boca Juniors, like has been suggested in the comments, him going to Boca Juniors means he gets first team football. He deserves that. He's good enough to be someone's first choice. But Joel Pereira needs minutes. And the only way he's going to get minutes is if he promotes to second choice keeper, for example, or goes out on loan. I'd like to keep him in that team. Give him 10, 15 games a season if you can. And get him ready for if De Gea did leave one day. Because I think he's very, very good. Mush says Shaw will leave. I don't think Shaw is going to leave. Could we really get 3 signings before the World Cup, says Punkaj? I think so, mate, because when you look at the signings that we've discussed today, I think Toby Alderweireld would be the most difficult to get wrapped up before the World Cup. I think you look at Diogo Dalot, that could be done. He's got a release clause. Fred's got a release clause. If we need to trigger that, get him signed up before the World Cup. So I think the only one that could drag on could be Alderweireld, because we know Daniel Levy and Spurs like to drag their heels, get big bucks. They're not going to really fancy selling to Manchester United. We've already heard they tried to get Anthony Martial. They can go fuck themselves. Alderweireld, though, hasn't signed a contract renewal there. He hasn't played much this season. He's looking to leave. So when you look at all that, you think Alderweireld could happen, but it might drag on a little bit. So I would say maybe 2 signings before the World Cup is realistic, but I hope 3, because then it leaves us, like we say, we need them 2 other signings before the end of the summer, and we've got more than enough time to do that. And also we know that the window closes for us now when the Premier League season kicks off, the new rules. So we haven't got up until the end of September. Jay Wilson, love you too, mate. Signed a lot of them, says Mush. Hope the new Adesh. What? Zidane is good, says Ahmed. What about the Gea contract? I think if we don't win the league, he's going to leave next season, says Rahab. I don't want to think about if we don't win it again. 6 years without that's a long time, isn't it? I'm not doing tomorrow's transfers today, says Rafat. John says, would I take Depay back? I like Memphis, but I want to see Rashford and Martial pushed on. Punkaj says yeah. Just says yeah. I don't think we will buy back Depay either. In answer to your question, Leela, will Herrera go or sign a new contract? Stability. I think Herrera will sign a new contract, but it's one that I actually don't. That's just my prediction. I'm 50-50 about his contract's ticking down. I know we can trigger an extension, but will we look to cash in on him? You hear talk about Barcelona and all that jazz. He would suit them, I think, especially with their manager. He's got ties to them. So you don't know. Could possibly happen. It could possibly happen. I think Toby is a crucial signing. He's a great leader, and our team definitely need a leader. Someone who can step up and motivate when they're down, says Adrian. I agree with that as well. I think Alderweireld will be a very, very good signing, and it'd be a good start to closing that gap between us and Manchester City and improving the heart of our defence where we really need to improve. Diogo Dalot at right back, Fred in midfield. Who else do you want to see sign for Manchester United? Let us know in the comments below. This has been MUFC Transfer Talk. I have been Adam McKola. You guys have been absolute legends. Thank you for tuning into this stream. Make sure you're liking, sharing and subscribing to the channel. Download the OneFootball app. Thank you to them for sponsoring the channel. And of course, keep it locked. We've got much more coming your way as well. I'm going to have not just MUFC Transfer Talk videos We're also going to have World Cup videos as well. MUFC Rumour Rater returns tomorrow in the second episode of that. If there's any rumours that you want me to rate, get them in the comments below when this is reprocessed and gone up, because if you put them in the live chat, I'm not going to get them. So yeah, you heard what I said. Put them in the comment, whatever rumours you want me to rate, and I'll get them in MUFC Rumour Rater. For now, I'm out of here.